In Mark chapter 8, we have the story of the blind man who was healed in 2 stages, making it a unique miracle. Now, there's a lot to learn from the story, but there's also further insight if we look at the context in which the story occurs. In the previous verses, Jesus reminds the disciples of the 2 incidents of feeding the multitudes and their recent anxiety about not having brought enough food with them. They hadn't understood something very important and simple and basic. This incident, that is to say the one where they were anxious about not having brought enough food, and the 2-stage healing of the blind man are linked together in this way. The disciples had become perfectly aware of the power of Jesus when the lepers hobbled their way into his presence terribly disfigured. They knew that when the wild demoniac known as Legion was coming at them swinging his chains and cursing, that they could rely and needed to rely upon the power of Jesus. And when the storm raged on the sea and the boat was being overwhelmed, they turned to the sleeping Jesus for help. In all of these situations, they had no alternative but to rely on a miracle from Jesus. But things like daily food, maybe clothing, bills to be settled, taxes to be paid, maybe minor domestic problems, disagreements and so on. With these things there is an alternative. We can muddle on through them. We can learn to put up with insufficiency and the weight of anxiety that accompanies it, the daily burden of worry. How can we possibly bring these things to Jesus? We've just got to get on with it. His miracle power is for the cancer patients and for those times when we really are in dire need. Now, this is wrong thinking. How does this wrong thinking relate to the 2-stage healing of the blind man? Some of us have only partial sight. We know and even expect his love and power to be manifest in the dire situations of life, but are still uncertain about the so-called minor details, the food, the clothing, the little disagreements, the small unpleasantnesses at home or at work. Jesus knew something wasn't right with the blind man, asking him, "Can you see anything?" And then he went on from there, wanting perfect sight for the man, indeed insisting on perfect sight for the man. And so it is with us.